Hello, it is April 3rd and I am Jagjit welcoming you all to the 40th episode of Weekly Takes from New York. A big thank you to all of you for liking my program. Each of the episodes are being watched by thousands of viewers. Subscription is going up, but still there are many of you who have not yet done so. Please press the subscribe button and also the bell icon to get informed about the next episode at the earliest. And if you like the program, which I know you do, then press the like button. After all, it is your program. And that is why you are here. Let's just do it. Namaste, Sat Sri Akal, Adab, Vanakkam. This is Jagjit bringing you the Weekly Takes from New York today morning when the mercury reads 15 degrees Celsius and it is comparatively warm, yes, but a little chilly. Yesterday was Good Friday. Jesus Christ was crucified on Good Friday, and it is a day of fasting and grieving for Christians all around the world. This is followed by Easter Sunday, which marks the resurrection of Jesus. After his crucifixion, Jesus appeared to his followers for 40 days. Thereafter, he ascended to heaven. And just to let my Indian audiences know that Good Friday is not an official holiday in the United States. We do have it in India, not here. We'll start today's episode with news of USA. 46th President Joe Biden took charge on 20th of January 2021. Moving forward, we need to talk about the government performance during these initial months. How do we view it? Are we satisfied? How does the world view it? We need to discuss. We'll also talk about some important international news of the week. And then we move over to our segment of some little known but unknown facts about New York. From there, we travel to India and the larger South Asian region and discuss some important happenings in and around India and in the region. Much is happening in Myanmar. We'll take a look. We'll also talk about the investigations going on in the Sushant Singh Rajput murder mystery. Has politics or extortion to play a role in it? We'll skip the history of Kashmir, the heaven on earth, in this episode. And last but not the least, we'll talk about the happenings within the Congress party and its future in the present circumstances. Let's begin. News of USA. Border crisis. 2 months into a presidency, a new poll shows the president's approval rating in general is holding up, but it has plummeted on his handling of the issue of illegal immigration, the border issue. The NPR Marist poll released Tuesday of this week found Biden polls only a 34% approval rating, which means fully 2/3 of adults polled range from unhappy to furious over watching the border crisis worsen while taxpayers foot the bill. Meanwhile, in a democracy where transparency is the key, the Biden administration reportedly restricted the Customs and Border Patrol officials from sharing information with or talking to members of the media, reported by the NBC News. On Wednesday, President Biden unveiled a more than $2 trillion infrastructure and economic recovery package, which aims to revitalize U.S. transportation, infrastructure, water systems, broadband, and manufacturing, among other goals. This comes with an increase in the corporate tax rate to 28% and measures designed to prevent offshoring of profits. On the other hand, former President Trump lambasted the package, announced by Joe Biden. He stated that just like our southern border went from best to worst and is now in shambles, our economy will be destroyed, resulting in more Americans out of work, more families shattered, more factories abandoned, more industries wrecked and closed, and more main streets boarded up and closed down. Well, that is how views differ. Let's hope for the best, America. In another news, though the labor market recovery has been building momentum as of late, the number of initial unemployment claims rose unexpectedly last week, as told by the Labor Department officials. Economists had anticipated about 680,000 new filings for the week that ended March 27, but instead there were 719,000 claims. Not a good sign when more and more stores are filing for bankruptcy. Be watchful, America. International news. Due to the lockdown, museums all over the world are closed. In a relief to art lovers, the Louvre, the world's most visited museum, is letting you do that right from home. The French Museum has released an online platform featuring all of the museum's artworks, consisting of more than 480,000 pieces, and art lovers and researchers alike will now be able to view the entire Louvre collection online for free. And just for information, the Louvre or the Louvre Museum is the world's largest art museum and a historic monument in France, Paris, and is best known for being the home of Mona Lisa. In the last episode, we had spoken a little about Myanmar. Let's look at it in detail. Myanmar, also known as Burma, is in Southeast Asia and neighbors Thailand, Laos, Bangladesh, China, and India. It has a population about 54 million. The main religion is Buddhism. There are many ethnic groups in the country, including Rohingya Muslims. The country gained independence from Britain in 1948. It was ruled by the armed forces from 1962 until 2011, when a new government led by Aung San Suu Kyi began ushering in a return to civilian rule. The military is now back in charge and has declared a year-long state of emergency. It seized control on 1st of February this year, following a general election which Ms. Suu Kyi's party, NLD, won by a landslide. The protests over the coup have been the largest since the so-called Saffron Revolution, which happened in 2007, when thousands of monks rose up against the military regime. This time, the protesters include teachers, lawyers, students, bank officers, and government workers, almost everyone. The civilian death toll in the Myanmar military's crackdown on protesters passed more than 500, as armed rebel groups on Tuesday threatened the junta with retaliation if the bloodshed does not stop. And as per reports, the protesters are planning for guerrilla attacks. World powers have ramped up their condemnation of the military's campaign against the anti-coup movement that is demanding the restoration of the elected government democratically and the release of the civilian leader Aung San Suu Kyi. But is condemnation enough? Perhaps if Myanmar had to offer to the world stuff like, say, oil, one would have witnessed by now boots on the ground in the name of democracy and humanity. But Myanmar doesn't have that much. Now, moving over to our segment of some little known but unknown interesting facts about New York. Did you know that many of New York City's landmarks are riddled with history and mystery? And the Empire State Building is no exception. Although the building is advertised as having 102 floors, that's not quite the case. There is actually another floor that was originally constructed for building maintenance, but it now acts as an ultra exclusive hotspot for the rich and famous. Unlike floor 102, which features a wraparound balcony and glass windows, floor 103 is ultra thin with only a knee-high railing separating observers from the sky surrounding them. Inside the building, there is a small room used for housing electrical equipment, but most celebrities just stay on the balcony and enjoy the adrenaline-inducing photo op. Did you know that roughly 1 million people pass through the Grand Central Terminal every day, but almost nobody knows about the tennis club that lies above their heads? Founded in the 1960s by a wealthy Hungarian immigrant, the tennis club consisted of 2 simple clay courts and existed for the public to enjoy while waiting for the train ride. In 1984, however, Donald Trump purchased the space and redeveloped it into a luxurious locale for celebrities, charging upwards of $130 per hour to rent it out. The courts stayed under his control until 2009, when they were renovated and reopened to the public. Although it is open, you will still need some luck in order to find out, since most employees don't know even it exists. अब चले भारत की ओर। सोशल मीडिया पर यह कहा जाता रहा है कि जब से मोदी सरकार आई है कुछ काम नहीं हुआ है। आइए परखते हैं सच्चाई को। कुछ तथ्य। दुनिया की बड़ी इकोनॉमीज के रूप में स्थापित होना। India's recent economic expansion has brought a record number of people out of poverty. A growing middle class has fueled impressive consumer growth. 2. दुनिया में अपनी मजबूत डिप्लोमेटिक पहचान बनाना। Economic growth has brought with it a greater strategic sway. और यह संभव हुआ है प्रधानमंत्री मोदी के विश्वव्यापी दौरों से, जिसकी आलोचना बहुत लोगों ने की। Evolving federalism. 10 years ago, many of our multinational clients viewed India as a single homogeneous market, not the agglomeration of 29 states that it really is. Over this past decade, the federal structure has come into a sharper focus, with more policy making powers and funds devolving to the states and village panchayats, the local governments. 4. Fighting corruption and black money. To begin with, demonetization. While its success is still being debated, it made one thing clear. This government, elected on an anti-corruption manifesto, was willing to rip up the rule book in order to drive home its agenda. That resolve has been shown in many other ways too. We'll deal with it later. अब मुख्य समाचार। 5 राज्यों में चुनाव हो रहे हैं। ग्राउंड जीरो से जो समाचार मिल रहे हैं उनके मुताबिक टीएमसी की हालत बंगाल में अच्छी नहीं है। हालांकि अभी सिर्फ 2 चरण के मतदान हुए हैं, पर लगता है कि बीजेपी बंगाल में सरकार बना लेगी। लगता है कि ममता दीदी के टूटे हुए पैर, खेला होबे के नारे और बाहरी प्रशांत किशोर की चतुराई विफल रही। उधर असम में भी कमोबेश यही हालत है, वहां फिर से बीजेपी की सरकार बनती दिख रही है। केरल में कांग्रेस पार्टी खुद अपनी कब्र खोदने में लगी है। कार्यकर्ताओं का पार्टी से लगाव कम होने से स्थिति चिंताजनक है। Many have left the party. What in normal course would have been a Congress victory, as the trend in Kerala is one time left, one time the UDF. Party wins. The increasing clout of BJP has made the fight interesting. कहा जाए तो कांटे का मुकाबला है दक्षिण के राज्यों में। अब अपडेट बिहार के लाल सुशांत सिंह राजपूत हत्याकांड का। द नैर्कोटिक्स कंट्रोल ब्यूरो ने पिछले दिनों कई लोगों को हिरासत में लिया है। फिल्म अभिनेता एजाज खान गिरफ्तार हो गए हैं, कई और जल्द ही बंद होने वाले हैं। सचिन वाजे इज नाउ इन एनआईए कस्टडी और बहुत अहम जानकारियां मिल रही हैं। मुंबई पुलिस एक एक्सटॉर्शन रैकेट चला रही थी। 8 विदेशी गाड़ियों पर वसूली गैंग चलता था और सभी गाड़ियों में पैसा गिनती करने की मशीन मौजूद थी। हिसाब किताब के लिए एक लड़की अकाउंटेंट भी थी जिसे एनआईए ने गिरफ्तार कर लिया है। सारे ऑपरेशन के लिए 5 सितारा होटल में कमरा बुक था जिसका भुगतान कोई बिजनेसमैन कर रहा था। पुलिस वाले होटल में नाम और नकली आधार कार्ड दिखाकर रह रहे थे। आखिर महीने के 100 करोड़ की वसूली जो थी। कई सवाल यहां से उठ खड़े होते हैं कि अगर मुंबई से 100 करोड़ तो महाराष्ट्र से कितना, किनका किनका हिस्सा था इसमें? क्या हिस्सा अघारी सरकार में बराबर बराबर बंटता था? क्या इसके तार पुराने वसूलीबाज दाऊद से तो नहीं जुड़े हैं? और आखिर अंबानी के घर बम लगाने की चाल पर मुहर किसकी थी? सारे सवाल सीधे देश की सुरक्षा से जुड़े हैं और सारी बातों के सबूत धीरे धीरे मिलते जा रहे हैं। जिन सबूतों को मिटाने की कोशिश की गई थी उसे भी मीठी नदी से निकाल लिया गया है। All this has happened in the aftermath of inquiry into the car laden with gelatin sticks parked outside Mukesh Ambani's house. To remind you, upon investigation by the NIA, it was found that the bomb was planted under the tutelage and direct intervention of the infamous Assistant Police Inspector Sachin Waje. And all this in Mumbai and not in any remote area of the state. मुझे आश्चर्य है कि बिना तथ्य को मोदी को चोर कहने वाला नेता अभी तक चुप कैसे और क्यों है? क्या इस वसूली में उसका भी हिस्सा था? आखिर सरकार में हिस्सेदारी है तो जुर्म की भागीदारी तो होगी। Is his benchmark more than 100 crores per month? Let's find out. और अब ऐसा महसूस होने लगा है कि क्या सुशांत की हत्या इसी तरह की वसूली का हिस्सा था? यह जाहिर होता है परमवीर सिंह के लिखे मुख्यमंत्री के पत्र से, जिसमें उल्लेख है कि महाराष्ट्र के होम मिनिस्टर पुलिस अफसरों को घर बुलाकर किसी भी केस की तहकीकात की दिशा निर्देशित करते थे। हर घटना को सुसाइड साबित करने का कार्यक्रम चल रहा था। कहते हैं ना कि देर है पर अंधेर नहीं है। सुशांत को न्याय मिलेगा, अपराधी को सजा मिलेगी। अब बात 135 साल पुरानी कांग्रेस पार्टी की, मेरी पार्टी की। पार्टी बहुत ही नाजुक हालत से गुजर रही है और इसकी वजह सिर्फ और सिर्फ हमारे माननीय पप्पू जी महाराज है। यह सिर्फ मेरा मानना नहीं है, यह पुराने सभी कांग्रेसी नवयुवकों की आवाज है। कुछ बोल रहे हैं, कुछ चुप बैठकर हालत पर आंसू बहा रहे हैं। ऑस्कर फर्नांडिस के साथ शुरू के दिनों से काम करने वाला रंजी थॉमस, जो एक अटॉर्नी भी है, ने सोनिया जी को एक पत्र लिखकर आग्रह किया है कि वो कांग्रेस पार्टी की अध्यक्ष बनी रहें और पार्टी के सभी पदों पर सूझबूझ और सुबुद्धि वाले व्यक्तियों को नियुक्त करें। कहने का मतलब ये कि पप्पू के बस का रोग नहीं है। एज आई हैव स्टेटेड अर्लियर, द पार्टी इज इन टोटल chaos, disarray, and you all know the culprit. Pappu, the guy does not have a basic understanding of politics, economy, human behavior, or to say anything which deals with public. He talks about dictatorial behavior of the BJP, but the Congress party itself suffers from the disease of intolerance, proven by the fact that there is no place for those who speak out against the Gandhi family, or whatever they speak is construed to be against the Gandhi family, even if they talk about reform of the party. Can anyone explain how the party contests election with the left as an ally in Bengal while fights against the same left in Kerala? Can someone explain what is the ideology of the party, or does it change from one state to the another? Can someone explain to me how a secular party combines with a religious party in Bengal? मोदी चोर है, पर 100 करोड़ हर महीने की वसूली करने वाला क्या वो हरिश्चंद्र का कलयुगी अवतार है? चुप्पी क्यों? If the outcome of ongoing elections to 5 states legislatures, notably Kerala, Assam and Puducherry, brings no happy endings, the rising dissent could well transform into revolt. Whether Rahul Gandhi contests organizational polls scheduled for the summer in June, a defeated lead campaigner in popular elections would be a lame duck party president. Unfit to lead the party is actually the phrase most Congress functionaries use in private conversations, and many of them have also expressed them to me in private. समय रहते अगर पार्टी की कमान किसी जमीन से जुड़े नेता के हाथ में नहीं गई तो कांग्रेस पार्टी का अंत नजदीक है। चुनाव के समय जनेऊ पहनने से जनता को मूर्ख नहीं बनाया जा सकता। भला होगा पार्टी का अगर यह कोई जिम खोल ले और पार्टी को बख्श दे। भगवान भला करेंगे। Let's hope the party soon comes under a new management. That is the only relief for the party. आज के लिए इतना ही। अगले एपिसोड में हम चर्चा करेंगे अमेरिका में राजनीतिक उथल पुथल की, विश्व के समाचारों की, कश्मीर के आगे के इतिहास की, कांग्रेस पार्टी के कहानी की, कांग्रेस पार्टी के भविष्य की। क्या होगा देश की सबसे पुरानी पार्टी का? क्या कमान किसी नए नेता को सौंपा जाएगा? कौन हो सकता है यह नया नेता? जानेंगे भारत अमेरिका के बनते बिगड़ते रिश्तों के बारे में। कई और तथ्यों के साथ फिर आऊंगा और मिल बैठकर चर्चा करेंगे आपके अपने प्रोग्राम वीकली टेक्स फ्रॉम न्यूयॉर्क में। हां, अगर आपको प्रोग्राम अच्छा लगा तो लाइक करें, चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करें ताकि अगले एपिसोड की सूचना आपको पहले मिल सके। तब तक के लिए जय हिंद, जय भारत।